Hi guys, welcome back to another episode of the Storytime Society. I'm so happy you're here. I'm so glad you're alive. Thanks for tuning in. The theme for today is updates only. Okay, I might think about doing this once a week because you guys seem to really like the updates only videos. The title of the first story is my 29 female girlfriend, 27 female of 4 years just told me that she's pregnant. I'm a woman, so it can't be mine, but she swears she didn't cheat. What do I do? Trigger warning, mentions of infidelity and homophobia, cancer, medical malpractice. I'm still in shock, so bear with me. My life feels like a soap opera right now. Apologies, this will probably be long. Here's some background. My girlfriend Anna and I have been together for 4 years, with intentions of getting engaged sometime this year. To clarify, we are two women in a relationship. I am a lesbian, always have been, but Anna is bisexual and has had serious relationships with men in the past. This has never been an issue for us because we love each other and have a healthy and stable relationship. But now, as you can imagine, I'm second guessing everything. What went down in the last month, Anna had been complaining about putting on weight, particularly in her stomach area. Anna is thin and athletic, so the little belly she had developed is noticeable. She's been going to the gym more and started eating much healthier than she usually does. We didn't notice any improvements with her weight loss, but I told her that it takes time and that she will eventually lose the weight. Pregnancy never ever crossed my mind for obvious reasons. Last week, she really started freaking out about her weight gain, so she scheduled a doctor's appointment. She had this appointment yesterday afternoon and afterwards called me at work and told me that we needed to talk. I could tell she had been crying. I'm freaking out at this point now, thinking that she's terminally ill or something. I start tearing up, asking her to tell me what's wrong, but she insists on meeting me at home. I leave work immediately and get home to see her sitting on the couch. Her face is puffy from crying. I'm shaking and tears are streaming down my face. I ask her about the doctor's appointment and what is going on. She can barely get the words out through her sobs. She tells me that she went to the doctor and that they told her that she's 13 weeks pregnant. I stop crying, but my brain is trying to comprehend what she had just told me. All I could say was, "What?" over and over. She's still sobbing, saying she's so confused and she has no idea how this happened. I've never really seen her in a state like that. She seems genuinely upset and confused, but then again, so am I. As I started registering what is going on, I ask, "Did you sleep with someone?" And she only starts crying more, swearing on her life that she didn't sleep with anyone. So I'm like, "But you did. You're pregnant. There's no way you didn't cheat on me." To which she replies, "I have no effing clue how this happened, but I swear to God I did not sleep with anyone. You have to believe me." We go back and forth for about 30 minutes or so. Both of us are still so confused. I told her that I needed to think, so I called a friend and spent last night at his house. I've been talking with friends and everyone is confused but agreeing that Anna must have cheated on me. I keep playing over and over our conversations in my head though. Like if she knew that she had slept with a guy and that she could be pregnant, why would she go to the doctor? Why wouldn't she have just gotten an abortion secretly? She could have used a Plan B pill just in case. Like, she could have gotten away with this. Maybe I'm being foolish here, but it genuinely seemed like she had no idea why she was gaining weight in her stomach. A couple nights we talked at length about possibilities why she was gaining weight, just in that region. And pregnancy never crossed our minds. I'm also playing back the potential date that she had. I'm also playing back the potential date that she could have cheated on me, considering she is 13 weeks along. We live together and have similar work schedules. We both work 9 to 5 jobs. And if I'm thinking of the right week that this could have happened, there's nothing that stands out of the ordinary to me. There weren't any late nights or suspicious activity that would have concerned me. I feel like I'm driving myself crazy, and I feel like I can't trust her. She's been texting me, asking me if we can talk, and I told her that I need more time. I want to believe she's telling me the truth, but I can't think of any reason how she could be pregnant without having slept with some guy. But it's all so confusing given the situation. So, what are your thoughts? Does my girlfriend have a case of lesbian immaculate conception, or am I being a fool for doubting that she cheated on me? How do I handle this situation and how do I talk to her? Everything feels very confusing right now. Thanks in advance for reading. I feel like I believe her and that she didn't because I don't really know. I just feel like if someone really cheated, they would know that they cheated and like thought, "Oh crap, I could be pregnant. Why don't I go get this checked out?" She would have gone and got it checked out at a doctor, seen if she was pregnant or whatever, or like, did a pregnancy test, gone to a doctor, gotten an abortion. There's so many things that she could have done secretly, but instead she goes to a doctor and she tells her girlfriend that she's pregnant. When in reality, like, I guess I don't know. That's really confusing to me. I almost feel like SA, but I'm trying to think of what the scenario could have been, that she was unconscious. I don't know. The girlfriend is saying that week there's no like significant things. So I'm like, I don't know if you guys were together all the time and there was no, I'm thinking it's like you guys had a party and your girlfriend fell asleep in another room and someone came in and SA'd her. That's like the only scenario that's going through my brain, because we know that that's like a thing. We've heard the stories about that before. So I'm like, maybe that could be the case. That's the only thing that I can think of. But I believe her, and maybe that's naive of me, but I'm ready to see what happens. So Storytime Society is now available on all listening platforms. If you are on any of those listening platforms, I would really appreciate it if you rated me 5 stars. Thanks for all the support. Some of the relevant comments. I think you know the right answer here. You don't just magically get pregnant. Yeah, she could have hidden it and secretly gotten an abortion, but she in all likelihood didn't think anything of it until it was too late. Maybe they used a condom and it broke, or he pulled out or something and she was convinced it couldn't have been pregnancy, or just didn't want to believe it. Denial is extremely powerful. Some people will deny till the day they die, but she's in a relationship with you, a woman, and she's pregnant. This isn't one you can deny. Logic says she may as well come clean, but good luck with that. 99.9% chance she cheated. The only other explanation is she was drugged and SA'd or something, but that's a big leap into the let's find a way to rationalize the shit out of this zone. Good luck with this. My money is on she was unfaithful, as it's the obvious answer. OP said, maybe the answer that she cheated is obvious here, but it's also difficult to explain a bunch of strangers just how upset she was when she told me. I can't expect internet strangers to know the intimacies of our relationship, but I would not be posting here if I didn't think there was a slight chance she was actually telling me the truth. Okay, update. Let's read the update. Update. So a lot has happened since the original post. Thank you to everyone that responded with helpful comments. It seemed like most people came to 3 possible conclusions with Anna's pregnancy. 1, she cheated on me and got pregnant. 2, she was the victim of drugging scenario and doesn't remember anything. And 3, the doctor is wrong. After spending the night at my friend's house and ignoring Anna's calls and texts, I decided to see her the next day to talk. We made a plan to meet at our house after work. I wasn't sure what to expect from our conversation. I thought I might get a confession of her cheating on me or something along those lines. So we met at home. She asked me how I was doing, and I told her that I was still pretty confused and upset. She understood. Then I said, I have to know, did you sleep with someone or cheat on me or come near sperm in any way, shape, or form since we've been together? She swore up and down that she did not, very sincerely. She said, I know that this is so effing crazy and literally unbelievable, but I swear to God I did not cheat on you. I am just confused as you are. I still wasn't entirely convinced, so I asked her about her doctor's visit specifically. She did not get an ultrasound. They only took a urine sample. I guess she told them her symptoms, they took a urine sample, concluded she was pregnant, and sent her on her way. I asked why they gave her a specific gestation period, and she didn't know. I'm not entirely sure why they did either. Of course, I was like, did you tell the doctor that it's impossible that you're pregnant, that you've been with a woman for the last 4 years? And the doctor gave her grief for it. Essentially implied that she must have slept with a man because she's pregnant, and that's why she was experiencing her symptoms. I'm not sure if this is a common occurrence for a doctor, but she said he seemed completely unfazed by her claims of not having slept with a man. For those of you that mentioned her period, Anna has an irregular period. Sometimes she gets it and sometimes she doesn't. So there was no cause for an alarm when she didn't get her period for 3 months because A, she can't get pregnant, and B, more sex for us. I guess the doctor saw the signs of a positive pregnancy test, and lack of period and pregnancy was the most reasonable option. After hearing about that, I said that she should schedule another doctor's appointment with a different doctor as soon as possible. She told me that she had, and had the appointment the next day, yesterday. We decided it was the best if I go with her to that appointment. The first order of business with the new doctor was the ultrasound. I sat with Anna as they put the gel on her stomach, and I was honestly sweating bullets. I kept thinking to myself, what if she's actually pregnant? I thought I was going to pass out, but Anna seemed calm. They confirmed that Anna is not pregnant, but she had a mass on her ovary that was a cause for concern. It was one of the most emotionally confusing moments of my life. Anna and I looked at each other, not sure if we should celebrate the not pregnancy or cry or what. Anna still has more appointments, but the new doctor gave her the diagnosis of stage 1 ovarian cancer. This explains the positive pregnancy test and the bloated stomach. This also explains why she wasn't able to lose the weight in her stomach. The doctor also mentioned that the irregular periods should have been a sign of concern for Anna, as women with irregular periods can be at more risk for ovarian cancer. I'm devastated and hopeful. Anna is still in shock as she has been through a lot in the last couple of days. I'm supporting her the best I can, and we're figuring out a game plan. Naturally, we're both terrified of what's to come. This will be a huge part of her life and my life, and probably put our plans to get engaged / married / have kids on hold, if she can even have kids after all of this. Anna even joked about the fact that she wishes she had been pregnant with the Messiah. That way, we could keep the kid and not have this horrible diagnosis. So I guess this is a happy / sad update. Thanks to everyone for reading. Oh my gosh, why did I not consider that the doctor could have been wrong? Well, probably because I wouldn't really think that a doctor would just be like, you're pregnant, and not go into any more in depth once she says that there's no way that she could be pregnant. I didn't sleep with a man. I'm a lesbian and I have a girlfriend. Hello? That seems like neglect to me. But that's really fucked up. You should probably not be a doctor if you actually don't give a shit about any of your patient's concerns. The top comment says, I'm so sorry to hear. The first doctor who was so dismissive of her insistent that she hadn't slept with a man should probably be scolded for this. And OP said, when she explained his reaction to me, I was livid. Call me an angry man hating lesbian, but the second doctor was a woman, and she was honestly one of the most helpful and supportive doctors I have ever encountered. Period. T. I believe it. Hexis Conservatives said, when I was in my second year of med school, we had one lesson drilled into us very hard during the make sure you take a BHCG section. If a woman tells you that she cannot possibly be pregnant, it's cancer until you've proven otherwise, especially if she's got PV bleeding, especially if she's looking distended, especially if she has B symptoms, and especially if she's an effing lesbian. You do not tell a patient that they are lying to you. You assume they are being honest and test them accordingly. But you always remember that if they're not being completely truthful, then you should have something planned for that too. Ovarian cancers are usually painless and are a huge concern. You always consider ovarian cancer in a young woman with painless abdominopelvic distension. It's the 9th most common cause of death in young women, and it's an unusual cancer. That tells you how often they're missed. Ooh. Not me. I have hypochondria. Now I feel like I need to go get checked by a doctor. I always get nervous when I go to the doctor. Not nervous like that, but whenever I get my pap smears, I always am like, are you sure? I'm always like, are you sure? Did you do enough? Are you sure that I don't have some crazy disease? Because I never believe them. I'm like, please, are you sure you checked? Like, did you check enough? Or are you just telling me? Because I know that they miss stuff all the time. It's like the first pap smear I ever got was done by a man, which is kind of crazy. And every time I tell someone that, they think it's so crazy. But I really liked him. Like, he was very much good at distracting and making it seem like super comfortable. And the fact that like an old 65-year-old man put his finger up me, obviously I know it's not sexual, like, okay, obviously it was a doctor's appointment, but like it's just weird to think about. But every time I tell someone that, they're like, what the hell? Why would you ever go to a man gynecologist? And I was like, I don't know. I didn't really think anything of it. I didn't really think it was that crazy. RWP commented, my mom died of ovarian cancer. She was dismissed over and over again. When she reported still bleeding after going through menopause, had abnormal abdominal swelling, etc., they did some kind of scan or imaging of her fallopian tubes, but somehow never looked at her ovaries. It wasn't until the tumor started leaking fluid that landed her in the hospital with pneumonia, and they kept draining her lungs, only for them to fill again. You'd think he would be somewhat cognizant of what the F ovarian cancer symptoms must be, instead of throwing drugs that the cancer doc called rocket fuel for the tumors at it for over a year. That's what scares me. I'm like, are you sure? Are you sure? Did you do enough? Did you do enough research? Did you listen in school? Because I'm nervous that you're missing something here. The title of the next story is, Am I the Asshole for Stopping My Boyfriend's Proposal at Our Best Friend's Wedding? I, female 26, and my boyfriend, male 25, attended a mutual friend's wedding. They're very close friends to us and brought my boyfriend and I together. My boyfriend and I are coming up on our 3-year anniversary, and things were getting pretty serious, enough so that I very much wanted to marry him. He's sweet, chatty, typically considerate, and empathetic. He's the person who I thought was the first to show me what a truly healthy and compassionate relationship was like. He's very serious about us, too. We've had long talks about marriage, and it seemed we were in agreement with no formal declaration. We had even gotten as far as looking at rings. So the chance of a proposal was more of a when and not if. A few weeks before the wedding, us and the engaged couple at the time were hanging out. The topic of weddings was very prevalent, and my boyfriend had cracked a joke about proposing at our friend's wedding. The to-be groom joked back and said, "That would be funny as hell." This was followed by me and the bride both shutting it down, trying to be serious but also not thinking that he was serious. He was. During the reception, everyone had made their speeches and people were getting their food. While our table was waiting, my boyfriend went up to the DJ, and after, they played my boyfriend and I's favorite song to scream sing in the car together, Story of My Life by One Direction. I look at him smiling, and he's looking around. All of a sudden, he grabs a fork, stands up, and begins clanging on a glass. Immediately, the whole dining room looks over. I stand up and whisper the words, "Not right now." His face drops and he yells a mix of, "I'm sorry, I was just joking." After he sat back down, I verbatim said, "Let them have their moment. Let's make this our own." He wouldn't even look at me. When it was time to get our food, he immediately goes towards the exit. I follow and tried to catch up to him, but I couldn't find him. I text him twice and call him a couple of times, but I got no answer, so I went back to the reception. After not hearing from him for about an hour and a half or so, he returns, sits down, and doesn't even look at me. The rest of the night was terrible. He looked like his dog just died, and I'm trying to make the best out of the night, but it felt like I was just in his shadow. I was prepping for a breakdown or maybe a fight in the car, but the only thing he said was, "I don't want to talk about it right now." And the drive was just quiet and awkward. He sent me a long text about how hard it was to get the ring, how he felt rejected by his closest person, and that I embarrassed him. I tried to explain that it's not that I don't want to marry him. It was our best friend's wedding, and they deserve their moment. That we should create our own and not piggyback off of theirs. He got offended and said that if I wanted to marry him, I wouldn't have stopped his proposal in front of everyone. This situation perplexes me. I've never seen the appeal of proposing at someone else's wedding, and I tried to handle the situation in a way that I felt was calm and chill. But he's very adamant that I ruined the proposal, made him look like an asshole, and thus I'm the asshole. Am I missing something? Should I admit I was wrong and have just let his proposal go at our friend's wedding? Why would anyone think to propose at someone else's wedding? That's just such an obvious no-no to me. It's their wedding and you're going to make it about yourself. I'll never understand why people ever do that. It just doesn't make any sense to me. Unless it's like a serious, like, I want you to do this at my wedding. I don't know. But even then, it's like, why? How about just do it a different day? And why would you even want that to be the environment that you're proposing in? Someone else's wedding that you don't even know anyone? Like, obviously, it's not your whole family's not there or anything. It's their family and their friends. And I'm sure you have some mutuals there. But what? That makes no sense. No, I would have been like, please don't propose at this wedding. I will literally cry. I will throw up in front of everyone if you propose at this wedding in front of, like, that's so embarrassing. Please don't do that. I don't think that he should be so upset about it. I get it because it's like, I would be so embarrassed if someone was like, no, and like was rejecting my proposal. That would be so embarrassing. But the fact that he didn't think about it and he didn't listen to her or the bride-to-be when they were saying, don't do that, that's not a good idea. Sir. Some notable comments. Proposing at someone else's wedding is incredibly rude. You saved him from embarrassing himself. If he can't be an adult about this and keep sulking, you have some thinking to do. That he thought it was all right to do it in the first place is a huge red flag. Not the asshole. You and the bride shot him down when he floated this idea. You didn't reject him. You rejected the timing of the proposal and the location. This was their wedding day, not a day for him to shine a spotlight on you. What he was doing was tacky, and you tried to stop him discreetly. If he looks like an asshole, it actually is that he is the asshole. Own it, dude. Maybe he's not as awesome and as good at healthy relationships as you thought he was. Girl, I notice you're ignoring the comments telling you that this is a bigger red flag than you think because you want to stay positive and think the best of him. But those people are not wrong. The wording in some of these replies can seem harsh, but that's not because they are all anti-relationships or anti-men. It's because, unfortunately, some of us have lived long enough to know and see how the story ends with guys like this, who in the dating phase, 1, ignore your discomfort, 2, do not respect your desires even after you flat out said no about something important, 3, act like big milestones, like a proposal, are only about them and what they want because everybody else they hurt by acting selfish should just get over it, give you the silent treatment, stonewall you, or blame when you stand up for what's right. This behavior will only get worse after marriage. I know you're so young, so you think you know him better than some internet randos, but if you ignore this now, you will end up paying a bigger price later. Of course she knows him better than internet randos, but I get the analysis of him as a whole. She responded to this comment though and said, I haven't responded to them, yes. However, they aren't being taken lightly. I'm using this time to really evaluate what I want, seeing if I notice any patterns or behaviors that align with what people are saying. His reaction here is really telling of how he may react in the future, and it's something that is really bothering me. Since we've been together, we've had really communicative fights, but nothing ever this big. I do want to give him time to process and see how this is approached, given some time to settle. If he doesn't reach out in the next day, I'll reach out to him, regardless of how he approaches. I do see that I'm not the asshole here. I do expect an apology, and I do expect that he addresses what happens and not dodge. I was really hurt when he came back and ignored me for the rest of the time we were there. I wanted to dance. I wanted to have fun. He was caught up in his feelings over something no one seemed to care much over. Please know I'm not ignoring you out of not seeing any bigger picture. I'm hurting and analyzing. This is also almost 3 years I've committed, where the only red flags to me was that he plays Yumi in League of Legends. I don't want to just toss our time and future in the trash over a very shitty timed mistake. And then someone said, I'm confused as to why you think he's empathetic, as you, the person he would be proposing to, told him you didn't want it to happen at your friend's wedding. Somehow he listened to that and decided, screw what she wants, and is now mad at you. There's an update, so we're going to read it. Update 2 days later. And this just happened a couple of weeks ago, May 6th. Hi all, this is an update from a post I made 2 days ago. You can see that post here. I responded to a few comments, but before proceeding with our convo, I read almost every comment hoping to gain a new perspective and see the situation I presented from a different light. After I got home from the wedding, my boyfriend and I texted back and forth. After he went to bed, I made my Reddit post because I absolutely felt like an asshole. I was second guessing everything and thought the night would have gone better if I had just let him do his thing. After seeing the responses to my post, I'm more solidified that I made the right decision. Yes, the night was ruined, but I'd be more comfortable with my life moving forward. I gave my boyfriend and myself a day to think about this and come back with clearer heads. That was yesterday. I took a lot of people's advice and tried to reflect on if this behavior was a grand showing of any smaller reaction. The stonewalling isn't super new, and fights at the start of our relationship, he would get quiet and make a small showing of secluding himself. I'd counter this by giving my boyfriend his space and telling him that moving forward, to just say he didn't have the words to talk about it and we can reconvene when we're ready to talk. This worked for us. It gave him time to choose his words. We'd have a good discussion of what went wrong and how we could fix it moving forward. I didn't think that he was overly trying to make me feel worse by the silent treatment back then. However, ignoring me for the rest of the time at the wedding hurt so much. Not even saying, I just need space right now, and rejecting to hold my hand by pulling away felt like he was pseudo-counter rejecting me. This was a first. I felt like he was trying to make me feel worse through his lack of communication. That's all I noticed. I've had a partner be verbally abusive to me before, and another who wasn't willing to talk about things they did wrong, refusing to take any blame. My boyfriend hasn't done any of that. I'm not saying I recognize all the patterns of abuse, but I'd say I'm versed in a few. There's also been no real history of me catering to him constantly, as others were asking. If either person had strong feelings one way or another in different scenarios, we'd often be fine with that person getting their way. Otherwise, if we didn't care at all that much, he loves to use a wheel-spinning website to make decisions, and I think it's cute. We met earlier today. He came over, and we sat in my living room. He broke down. He vehemently apologized and said he felt like an asshole. He said he had been reflecting all day yesterday and talking to his dad about the situation. His dad got mad at him and talked him off his ego crash. His words, not mine. He had already sent a message to our friends, now flying to their honeymoon in West Europe, apologizing for making their most important day about him and for not properly celebrating them. I asked why he neglected our conversation from months before. He said that the groom and their group of friends had egged him on in private since, not to propose at the wedding, but to do it soon. He didn't originally plan on doing it at the wedding. He's had the ring with him for a couple of months, but never had any real plan and wanted it to be spontaneous. He told me he got caught up in the atmosphere of the wedding, saw his best friend with his girl, and couldn't stop picturing us in the same scenario. His urge overran his common sense in his terms, and he made a choice he ultimately wishes he could take back. It very much spiraled from there. I noted that while his heart was in the right place, that doesn't excuse the shitstorm that he put me through after. I expressed to him that ignoring me really hurt me, that him saying my rejection to his proposal was the reason for his embarrassment and shutdown was unfair, especially since we had already established for him to not do that. He accepted this and continued to apologize, admitting it was very unfair of him, that he should have handled his emotions and embarrassment better, especially towards me. We had a lull in our conversation after he asked, "Where do we go from here?" At this point, I didn't want to just return back to normal. A day where I expressed to him that I felt the prettiest in a long time, expected us to have enormous fun, and watch our best friends have their moment to shine, turned into a day where I was crying in my room reading Reddit comments about how I should break up with him. I genuinely thought I was the asshole who should have just bit the bullet and accepted a proposal in a way I and others thought wasn't okay. I told him that if we were to move forward, he needed to seek a therapist to help him manage his emotions, not only from this, but other signs that he may have a panic disorder. My mom works for a mental health clinic and has offered resources before. I said that I needed time to rebuild my trust in him. He understood and is going to seek mental health resources through my mom's clinic. Until then, we'll be on a week or so break with an open channel of communication. He's going to find appropriate channels to better himself, and I'm going to take myself on a mini vacation after the emotional roller coaster that was this weekend. We did talk about what each other's ideal proposal was, something we should have talked about before the trigger was even pulled on it. I said that I didn't care for anything fancy, I just prefer it to not be public. He said that he wanted to make a grand showing of love to me and didn't care where or how. He asked if I was okay to have friends and family present or if that broke my public rule. I said that was fine and was happy with the communicative compromise. I also stated that I didn't want to be proposed to for a while so that we could let this situation rest and figure ourselves out from here. He accepted this. Something I thought was really sweet that I wanted to mention was that before he left, he said, "I do think I owe you some dancing." And so we slow danced in my living room for about a half hour before he left. A small and romantic action, probably to earn brownie points, but the conversation did reassure me that he's willing to try and be better. He recognized he was in the wrong and that a joyful day was robbed by pride and not rejection. This was about as ideal of an outcome as I would hope. Thank you all for taking the time out of your days to reply and bring me back to earth. Thank you to those who messaged me in private to make sure I was okay or to give input. While the future is still obscure, it's a little clearer than it was a couple days ago. I have a clearer understanding now of what I want and what's healthy. Moving forward, I will do every ounce of weighing before I enter what should be the most important commitment you can make to a person you love, and I'll keep a more careful eye on his behaviors and how he may react to adverse situations. I hope the best for you all, as many have for me. Thank you. Love that. Really glad they had that conversation and talked it all out. I will say it's definitely strange that he never really had that talk with her before proposing and kind of took it under his own wing. I don't know. I feel like when you're proposing, I don't think it's just about the girl, in my opinion. I think it's about both of you and what both of you guys want. So I do think that he should have talked to her and then he could have come to a little conclusion about what he should do with the information that she gave him about how she would want to be proposed to, because you shouldn't just do it how you want and you shouldn't just never ask, because what if there's certain things that you would absolutely not want? I personally don't want to be proposed to in a public setting at a restaurant. I think that would be my worst nightmare. I would rather not. I think that it's so important to have a conversation about that and to know that about your partner beforehand. I can understand how embarrassing that would be, though. I mean, I get embarrassed so easily. I get embarrassed when I'm by myself. I'm like, wow, that was so embarrassing. Why would you do that? Or just things that I think in my brain. I'm like, that's so embarrassing that you just thought that. I think everything's embarrassing, so maybe that's just a me problem, but The top comment says, in agreement with the commenters mostly, but that's not what gray rocking is. Let's not render all psych terms meaningless, shall we? And then someone, Perky Pancake, said back, thanks for calling this out. Gray rocking does not equal stonewalling. You're actually still supposed to respond and engage with gray rocking. There's still communication being had. That's an easy way to tell the difference. Of course, because gray rocking is a preservation method when dealing with abusive behavior to minimize escalation until the person can reach safety away from the abuse, while stonewalling is an emotional manipulation tactic used to control a victim's reaction or an outcome. Is it possible to stonewall on accident? Because I feel like in situations where I am facing conflict, I tend to shut down. I've definitely gotten better in my relationship about it because we have a very healthy relationship and dynamic. So I think that naturally it's just healed a little bit of that part of me. But for sure, in previous relationships, I have a tendency to completely shut down when it comes to conflict, or if I get mad about something, I don't even want to talk about it. I just immediately shut down. And it's like, I can't control myself. It's not that it's like I'm going crazy. It's just, I can't control it to the point where talking seems like the biggest task. And I'm like, I can't. I physically cannot. It's like, if you were to ask me to pick up a 500-pound boulder, like, no, I actually can't do that. That's how I would feel about like talking about a scenario or about something that made me upset, like right after, or I don't know. That's just how I would react. And that's just like immediately what my brain would go to. I'm not really sure why I'm like that or why I have an issue with that. It's just, I just shut down and it's like, I don't want to talk about it. But I don't know. I feel like that is stonewalling, but I wouldn't do it to manipulate someone. I wasn't even doing it knowingly. It was just something that and that's how my brain reacted. It was just like a shutdown. I don't know. It was just the way that I coped with things. Ziggy Buddy said, humans will F up. He made a bad couple of choices on an emotionally charged night, and hopefully now will take the steps he needs to correct it. Not the worst boyfriend/proposal we've seen on here by far. OP said, the bar is in hell, though. Well, that's not OP, actually. That's just the person that reposted this. Anything short of a staged kidnapping is better than some of the stories I've seen. Oh my god. T, inside joke, because we read that one too, so slay. The title of the next story is, am I the asshole for not letting my boyfriend be the hero while we were getting mugged at knife point? My boyfriend is a big hero fanatic and does everything in his power to be like one. It's really endearing, and it's one of the many things I love about him, because he wants to be the good he wishes to see in the world. But this mindset he has is why we're fighting right now. We've been quarantining at my apartment. He's not on the lease, and he suggested that we go on a night walk since we've been getting stir crazy from being inside all day. He figured that it would be easier for social distancing to go out at night. I was hesitant because we live in a bad neighborhood, but he assured that he would protect me. On our walk, we were cornered by a man with a knife that demanded our wallets. I remember John Mulaney's Street Smarts bit from the Netflix show and was going to throw my wallet past the mugger so we could just run away. But my boyfriend started arguing with him and was spouting off a bunch of stuff about justice and how the mugger wouldn't get away with this. It looked like he was getting ready to fight. I was taken aback by this, and I guess the mugger was too, because it gave me enough time to take the important stuff out of my wallet while he was distracted. I interrupted my boyfriend's monologue and said, "Take it, just don't hurt us," and threw it behind the guy. When he turned, I grabbed my boyfriend's hand and we booked it back to the apartment. We got home safely and I was relieved that we were okay, but my boyfriend was fuming. He was pissed that I interrupted him from protecting me when he could have, in his words, clearly handled it himself. I told him he would have gotten himself killed. He said that he was obviously stronger than the mugger and would have won. I explained to him that the guy had a weapon and my boyfriend didn't, so the odds were stacked against him. Not only that, but I didn't want my boyfriend to get killed over a damn wallet. We argued for longer than necessary, so I shut it down and told him we could talk about it when our adrenaline wasn't so high. But I needed to file a police report while the event was fresh. He stomped off to our room while I called the cops. When I was off the phone, I went to lay with him, but he rolled away from me. The next day, he was still angry and had already told his friends and family about what had happened to us. I thought that they would be understanding about how I handled it, but they were mad at me for not letting him have his opportunity to be a hero. His mom even ridiculed me for emasculating him. I want to reopen the conversation so we can understand each other and move past it. But if he isn't receptive, I'm going to ask him to move back in with his mom. I want to understand where I went wrong, if I went wrong. But honestly, I feel like he's being childish and unreasonable. I just want to know if I'm the asshole or is he. What the hell? What the helly? What the Halle Berry? No. You are not the asshole, not even in the slightest. This man would have probably gotten you and him stabbed. Are you kidding? Yelling at a mugger that is holding you at knife point, trying to take your stuff from you. That's like what you don't do 101. That's textbook 101. Don't do that if someone's trying to mug you with a weapon when you don't have a weapon. He was putting you in more danger. Oh, I'm so sorry you didn't get to play out your little hero reenaction. Well, I hope you know all the hero movies that you watch are fake. They're fake. How old are you? Like 6 years old? That stuff, not real. Oh my God. Fantasy. Fiction. I'm so confused. I would be like, thank you so much. Like, you reacted so well to that situation. Remembering that tactic to throw the wallet behind and being able to take out all the important stuff, chef's kiss. That's amazing. I'm going to remember that for if I ever need to, if I ever get mugged, which please God, don't get mugged, please. My mom actually got mugged when I was little, and I remember, I remember just being like, what? First of all, I didn't know what mugged meant because I was little. I was like probably 7, 8 years old, and she was walking out of her job. She like worked at the bar at the time, and she was walking out, and these two guys literally like shoved her down to the ground on the concrete. She had so many gashes all over her body and like on her face, and they shoved her down and started like kicking her and took her purse from her. She was a newly single mom with 3 kids who probably made $12 an hour. So I don't know what they got. She probably freaking got that purse for $2 at the thrift store. So I'm not really sure what they got. They definitely picked the wrong woman to mug. But I felt so bad and I didn't know what it meant. I was like, what does that mean? Some guys came and beat you up and like took your purse. As I got older, I learned the term mugged, and I was like, oh my God, my mom got mugged when I was little. What the hell? The update, this is the next day. So he called me last night and I answered. He asked if I was okay and how I was doing, and then he asked if he could come over, and I said that he could. I planned on bringing everything up again myself because he had been very passive aggressive and refusing to talk about it. But when he showed up, he immediately started apologizing. Everything you guys pointed out, he started agreeing with. He was saying that he was being delusional, unrealistic, the whole hero fantasy isn't healthy, he jeopardized my safety and that wasn't okay, etc. I wasn't prepared for this behavior, especially compared to how he had been acting all week. We talked for hours before we went to bed together, and everything seemed like it worked out fine. I was really on the verge of ending things, so it was a relief I didn't have to in that moment. Then this morning came, and shit hit the fan. In my comment update on the last post, I mentioned that a friend was trying to mediate. I texted that friend that things worked out, and they said something along the lines of, I'm so glad you were able to apologize. Some people mentioned that maybe he told a different story, which isn't something I looked into, but I decided to ask, and woo, boy, am I glad I did. Firstly, he told everyone that the night walk was my idea, and then apparently we were never mugged. Nope. Apparently, I just started talking shit to a stranger on the street in an attempt to make him show he was a strong man and protect me. And the only reason we were able to get away was because he de-escalated the situation, and that I was emasculating because he was put in the position where he felt like he was forced to fight for my honor. Are you effing kidding me? To make a long story short, he tried to play dumb and backpedal this morning when I confronted him about it. And then when I pressed him to be honest, he snapped again and said, what was I supposed to say? The whole situation was embarrassing and it was going to make me look bad. We argued for a little bit, but I was just done. I told him to go, that it wasn't going to work out. He didn't have much stuff, so it was easy to put it in a spare bag and just toss at him while he angrily left. He's currently outside of my complex waiting for mommy to pick him up. As far as I'm concerned, I dodged a bullet. F his friends, F his mom, and F him. Thank you for opening my eyes, Reddit. Wait, but he told them a lie. He told his friends and his mom a lie. So I understand why she would react that way and why she'd be like, I can't believe you did that to him, because he completely lied to her and told her the complete wrong story, like lied straight to her face about the whole scenario. So I can see why his friends would be like, wait, why would you be talking shit to this stranger, and why did you want to go on this fight? Like, I would be so confused. I'd be like, wait a damn minute, hold a second, hold the phone. The top comment says, I'm effing dead at the John Mulaney's street smarts. I love that it worked better than the boyfriend's plan of getting stabbed. Solid plan. He was likely to succeed and not necessarily survive, mind you, but succeed. JJ Bittenbinder was a totally real guy too. You can find his videos all over. Unfortunately, he wasn't a fan of Mulaney's portrayal of him. The second she mentioned it, all I heard was John Mulaney shouting street smarts. I wish I knew what you were talking about, to be honest, because I don't think I've ever heard of John Mulaney in my life, but maybe if I looked him up, I would know. Smart Quota said, oh man, this guy is insane. Glad the truth came out immediately and that OOP kicked his pathetic behind to the curb. I do wonder, will he try to spin the dumping to his friends? He is surely the hero and she's the bad guy somehow. I hope OOP got ahead of this. Oh, I'm sure he's going to try to spin that to his friends. He's definitely going to be like, I can't believe. Is he even going to tell them the truth? Is he even going to be like, oh, mom, I lied to you. This is actually what happened? Probably not. Gypsy said, the fact that he lied and completely flipped the script tells you he knew his adversarial behavior was wrong and extremely dangerous. Super glad the OP ended the relationship. That's honestly so tea, because obviously, if you lied about the whole scenario, you knew that you were in the wrong about it. That is the end of the story time. Those are all the stories I have for you guys. Let me know what you thought about those, because I just love Reddit sometimes. I'm like, how is this real and how are these real scenarios? One thing that I was thinking this weekend, this weekend, me and my boyfriend took proposal pictures, which apparently we're like the new photographers on the street, because people keep asking us to take their pictures. Last weekend we took my friend and her fiance's engagement pictures, and then this weekend someone calls us to take proposal pictures, and we're like, wait, I'm scared, because proposal pictures are so much more stressful than engagement pictures. We've done proposal pictures before for his friend that was supposed to be getting married in August, but the girl called off the wedding. Sissies. Yeah. And it was stressful, even though she definitely knew she was getting proposed to, because they came to this random spot, and like, I don't really even know what they told, like, I think he told her that we had like some project to do that we were putting together, and we were going to like take pictures of something. So they were going to meet up with us. Yet he was dressed up and she was wearing a white dress and heels. I'm like, oh, you wear that all the time? No, she doesn't. She does not wear that all the time. So she definitely knew. And I was like, you should have just told her she was getting proposed to, so that we could have not been stressed about the situation. But once she showed up in a white dress, I was like, okay, so she knows she's getting proposed to. Why wouldn't just say that she knows? Wait. Not me saying his name. Okay, I'm going to bleep that, because why would I just do that? I can't name drop. So I was like, okay, well, tea, but not tea, because I'm stressed. And this weekend was so stressful because we went to a restaurant and we were waiting at this restaurant next to the restaurant they were eating at, and it was getting dark, and we were like, we told them that they should have made reservations for earlier on, because it was going to be dark by the time we were taking their pictures, and it was definitely dark. So like, the pictures aren't amazing, and I would have loved to have like a little bit of control of that situation. If they would have asked us like a week ago and been like, hey, can you help set this up, I would have had an amazing plan, okay? And it would have been down pat, because I would like to call myself a good organizer. I am good at organizing things. I'm good at planning things, and I put my whole heart and soul, I put my back into it, my neck and my back, okay? And my pussy and my crack. But I would have done something so down pat, and instead we were led into the unknown. We had no idea what was going on, other than that they had this reservation and he was going to propose and we had to be there. And we were just so stressed the whole time. But then it ended up being fine. It worked out, and it wasn't really even that stressful. But it's our first it's our first paid gig. We got paid, and last weekend when we took my friend's engagement pictures, they took us to dinner for payment. This weekend we actually got paid like $200, which was really nice because we just kind of do it for like fun and for favors for people. But obviously, the more we do it, we're gonna probably want to like make money from it, but not a lot. I would just want to be like a budget photographer. Like, oh yeah, if you need someone to take your pictures, we'll be there for you. We will charge you a fourth of what someone else will charge you, and we're probably not going to be as good as that person, but we're going to try our best. And then I saw this girl that I haven't seen for a while, and she was really drunk, which obviously, like, I've been drunk before and like talking out of my ass, but it was so funny because she, like, I love when people are nice drunk. Like, she was just very nice, and she's like, oh my god, you're the best person I've ever met. Like, I am so happy I met you. I've met her like 2 times. I was like, okay, slay queen, I love you too. I love you too. Like, I do the same thing with people. When I meet people, I'm like, immediately we're best friends. I immediately am like, oh, so we're best friends now. Like, we've met once, but I love you and we're best friends. But yeah, she was really drunk, and she was going off talking so much shit, and I was loving it. I was eating that shit up. But you know when you're sober and that person's drunk, and then it's like sometimes it's kind of hard to get a word in because they're just talking so much, and you're like, they're drunk, they're not even gonna remember what I say anyways, so let me just listen to them. But she was like telling me so much tea about the family and about all this stuff. I'm like, wait a damn minute. I love that. I love hearing a good little gossip, little bit of gossip. Toxic gossip train, chugging down the street of misinformation. Toxic gossip train. Anyways, that's the end of the episode. I love you guys so much, and obviously we'll talk in the next episode as always. I hope you have the best day, night, morning, afternoon that you've ever had in your entire life. Wishing you only amazing things, and I love you. Bye. Love you. See you later, alligators. My merch is out. Yeah, but this is it. And this comes in pink, black, and white. If you want to get a little cute piece of merch, go grab one. Link is in the description to purchase. Love you guys. Thanks for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe.